Anybody that knows me knows that my strongest talent is writing. I'm not a great singer. I'm a good performer. I've grown into a great performer. But my greatest talent is writing.
I'll be having like 12 writers in the studio that don't add up to Drake. You understand like how much easier my life would be if Drake would just like write my raps for me? You know what I'm saying? Drake is the greatest rapper ever.
Yeah. Drake is often regarded as the best rapper of all time to many people. He's the most streamed artist of all time and currently sits at around over 88 million monthly listeners. He also has a certified diamond album as well as 15 diamond singles. Wait, no, that wasn't a typo in my script. So he's undeniably the biggest hitmaker in the game, the most streamed rapper of all time, and has a million other accolades, meaning his pen clearly has some magic to it. That's why we're going to be going through his discography and looking at his songs from some of the most pivotal times and projects in his career, and breaking down what makes him stand out. Does the production carry him, or is he just that good at writing his songs? And yes, I will be covering ICEMAN, Maid of Honour, and HABIBTI. Timestamps are obviously below. But first, let's start off with some of his oldest records.
Took over my city and I never asked permission to. Started popping bottles cause it's ATF tradition too.
Drake has a bunch of projects from the start of his career that are available online. And although a record like I'm Still Fly does have some very corny lyrics about being sky high and getting his wings cut off, it also features a couple things that would go on to be some of Drake's strongest skills. Whether that be his unique flows on the track, or the fact that he uses repetition to make it easier for people to sing along, this was a good stepping stone for Drake. We continued to see significant improvement on his breakout mixtape.
This one's for you.
So Far Gone is what really gave him his breakthrough in the mainstream, with the song Best I Ever Had. I mean, what was it, like 2009? Yeah, I was only 3 years old, so I couldn't really tell you what it was like at the time. But according to people on Reddit, this song was playing everywhere on the radio, and everyone was talking about Drake being the next one up. So it was clear that this is the song that put him in the spotlight. But other than that amazing production, what makes the song so good? Well, first of all, and this is what has always made Drake stand out as an artist, he has relatability. Throughout the entire song, he's constantly saying things that can be said from any perspective. And when I say this, I mean when he writes lyrics like, "Baby, you're my everything," then that random guy in India can relate to it and serenade his significant other. Now, this obviously isn't the only thing you need to make hits. He's still a phenomenal artist and does many more things that I'm gonna cover throughout this video. But his ability to put on a character that everyone can live through is one of the reasons Drake can make hits like he does. And the fact that he was able to portray this early in his career was already a good indicator of where he was heading. Old Drake was also very interesting with his storytelling approach. Unlike many other artists like Frank Ocean and Kendrick, which are artists I covered in my last 2 videos, Drake is extremely direct when rapping, but he still manages to sound good and not too preachy or corny, most of the time. And after looking into more songs off of this mixtape like Say What's Real, which is Drake rapping over Kanye's famous Say You Will beat, he uses plenty of clever bars and unique flows which alleviate a lot of the cringiness from rapping in a very direct tone, and it makes it seem a lot more well written, which it is. But this is Drake's 3rd mixtape, so there was still plenty of room for him to grow as an artist, and we actually did continue to see growth, which brings me to Take Care.
Why did you call it Take Care, and what does that mean?
Take care is just like a term that we all use to address certain things, like, oh man, you thought this was your year because you had like a hit. Take care.
Take Care is widely recognized as Drake's magnum opus. I mean, come on, look at all these bangers. For this album, I was really in between covering either Headlines or Marvin's Room, but after doing some more research, I ended up going with Marvin's Room for this video, purely because Headlines doesn't have anything too crazy about its writing. It's just a very good and memorable rapping performance on a very solid beat.
I might be too strung out on compliments, overdosed on.
Whereas Marvin's Room doesn't only incorporate the relatability that Best I Ever Had did, but we also see the use of Drake's melodic rapping.
Cups of the rose.
And don't get me wrong, he did this a little on So Far Gone, but this album is really where he kind of led the way and fused R&B and rap. Now, melodic rap is so captivating for one reason, because it's usually something that people can hum to and remember, but it still has meaning and a good flow. A lot of modern day artists from Post Malone to Juice WRLD are known for this style of rap, and I'd like to think it's because Drake paved the way for it. Fantano can hate on this track as much as he wants, saying the phone lines are cheesy, but he can't deny that it's catchy as fuck. And although Drake leans way more into the melodic side of things on Marvin's Room, he does have tracks where he leans more into the technical side, like his verse off of Crew Love with The Weeknd. On Crew Love, he uses his melodic rapping ability, but with more substance, talking about the people around him and his come up. But speaking of come ups, let's move on to Nothing Was the Same, and one song in particular.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here.
Started from the bottom. Throughout the entire song, Drake is literally repeating the same words over and over and over again. And I mean, if this isn't the definition of a hit song through creativity, then I don't know what is. And I'm saying this because it's normal to have a couple verses and then a chorus, but for this song, he flips the usual arrangement and goes chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, which is why it sounds like he's saying the same thing for the whole fucking song.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here.
This is one of those instances where Drake makes it so easy to sing along. I mean, my grandma doesn't even know English and she could probably mosh to this song. Using the same words over and over again in a chorus isn't really that common in modern hip hop, but we can see the most recent case of this phenomenon with the song Fiend by Travis and Cardi. I mean, this song took the world by storm and people were going crazy over it. So it's safe to say a simple chorus still works when used right. Another thing that the song Started From the Bottom brings to the table is obviously relatability. When you can relate and you really have accomplished a specific goal, then I'm sure this song hits even more.
Started from the bottom, now my whole team fucking here.
And it hits even though there isn't a whole lot of storytelling on this song, unlike many we see on his next project. If you're reading this, it's...
Yeah.
This is one of the only times in Drake's career where he ever rapped this hard, and I'm all here for it. I think this tape has some of his best writing by far, and he really got deep on this mixtape and made some really good cuts, as well as having some amazing rapping performances. This project is so good I had to go ahead and pick two songs to cover, which are Energy and You and the Six. Energy is literally Drake using all of his technical abilities he's gained up until this point, including using a unique flow, melodic rapping, and relatability with repetition. This song has it all, and it's probably the reason it did so well. The beat was just the cherry on top. Now You and the Six is by far one of my favorite records on this tape. We finally get to see Drake's storytelling side again, and he tells the story of his come up through anecdotes about his family and city, including his parents' struggles and how even though his dad wasn't always there for him, he makes sure to hold no resentment towards him. This is also around the time Drake beefed with Meek Mill and got exposed for having quote-unquote ghostwriters. And do I think he had ghostwriters? I don't know. But even if he did, people act like you still don't have to work with a ghostwriter. They're just writers who aren't credited. And I see a bunch of uneducated music fans online being like, he has writers credited on his songs though. And no shit. Like, it's normal to use writers. If you don't have the time and someone can execute your vision just as well as you, then why not have someone do it? It doesn't really take away from your substance unless you had no involvement in the writing. Literally all of the biggest artists use writers, but no one gets more heat for it than Drake, and I actually don't know why. But after this beef, he went on to drop the biggest album of his career.
Mama hit my phone and said rap's no good.
With a whopping 1 million units sold first week, Views is a certified classic. It fused some Afro elements with modern day hip hop at the time and made bangers like One Dance and Hotline Bling. Now of course everything was in Drake's favor at this time. He was the hottest artist out, just came out of a rap beef, and this album was really him capitalizing on a lot of his hype. Hotline Bling and One Dance are the two records I want to cover off this album because they're the most famous ones and not by chance. Even though this album has some deeper cuts in terms of lyricism, like Weston Road flows, when I said I wanted to take a deep dive into Drake's writing during this video, I specifically meant his hit-making ability. And that's why this album is so important. It has two of his biggest songs. One that is literally a dance record, and the other being an emotional pop R&B record. This is the deepest Drake has ever dove into pop, because all of his previous albums were still mainly rap, but this album would solidify Drake as a pop rap artist, with catchy choruses and emotional hooks on Hotline Bling, but a nice upbeat and sampled dance record on One Dance, heavily inspired by Afro beats. And speaking of Afro beats, Drake was also really tapped into the Afro genre at this time, and what better way to incorporate it into your album than get the best, aka Wizkid. People like to call Drake a culture vulture and that he likes to hop on sounds only when they're trending, but now we actually know he's not, because on one of his new albums he has an Afro song, that being the song Amazing Shape. But now I want to talk about For All the Dogs.
Yeah, I'm out here on the road.
For All the Dogs was Drake's last studio album, and a record I really want to point out from this album is First Person Shooter. There are many reasons as to why this song blew up. I mean, him and J. Cole don't have a lot of songs together. This was also the start of the Drake and Kendrick beef, but they also both had good performances and great chemistry together. But the flow on this track is impeccable, with delivery on some lines like J. Cole's Spider-Man one. And this is why flow is so important, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, the flow. It's about what would sound catchier, what makes it easier for people to digest what you're saying. Imagine if I served you dinner and I mixed a bunch of food together. I mixed the sauce with a bunch of other ingredients and handed you this pile of bullshit. You wouldn't know what you were consuming. Whereas if the plate was organized and I handed you one meal at a time, not only would you understand it more, but it would look better. And it's the exact same thing with music. My point is, the best artists learn delivery, and they know how to get their point across while having it sound good. If you do everything Drake does, but your flow is trash, or the beat you picked doesn't match the vibe you're going for, then it's hard to say people will enjoy your music.
Outside is back to what it was, you know what I'm saying? Atlanta.
ICEMAN just dropped and Drake released 2 other albums, so let's talk about it. Starting off with Made Them Cry. On this song, he addresses where he is physically and mentally and how he has a lot more responsibilities now that he's older. He also addresses a lot of the beefs, stating, "I've been trying to end so many people I almost forgot the intro." And his storytelling on the first 2 records sounds very similar to that of Certified Lover Boy. But throughout this album, Drake has been the most transparent we've seen him in a damn while. I mean, while we're still on the intro, he even states that his dad is going through cancer and he has bigger stages to fight. And when I heard that, I was like, damn. But apparently this happened a while ago and his dad already beat it, so that's good. But it really makes me wonder when he started recording this album. This album also has phenomenal rapping performances, even though there are some bars here and there that were questionable, like that Aiden Ross one. It was just too direct, and there were overall some cheesy lines on this record, but there were also some crazy lines, like on the first verse of National Treasure. I mean, throughout National Treasures, Drake continued to go crazy, using metaphors, wordplay, as well as repetition, and a rapping performance that actually had me making this face the whole time. And I don't know why I'm saying that, I was literally making that face during the entire album, because a lot of his rapping performances were just insane. I mean, this track list is long, and if I were to dissect every song, this video would be 5 hours long. And I still want this album to marinate before going even deeper, because I don't want to make mistakes, and I want to make sure it's as refined as possible. By the way, I want you guys to know I literally reviewed this album and added it once this entire video was already meant to be done. Like, it was a coincidence that it dropped, and ICEMAN was 3 albums. But overall, this album just covers a lot of shit that Drake's going through. It cleared up a bunch of shit and also sent more shots. And I mean, it's still too early to rate ICEMAN, but something I will say is that that live stream was crazy. It was just some crazy production and directing, I'm not gonna lie to you. Now let's talk about Maid of Honour and HABIBTI. Maid of Honour is a house pop fusion, which basically means it's a club album. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some good cuts on this. Even though there isn't much substance on this record compared to ICEMAN, I really like tracks like Road Trips and Q&A with good melodic performances and beat progressions. And HABIBTI is an R&B record. We know this just by looking at the features like PND and Low Shimmy, who's a melodic rapper. Now, I actually haven't fully listened to HABIBTI yet, but it seems pretty laid back so far. Anyways, that was the insane writing behind Drake. Let me know what you guys think of the new albums. Also, let me know what you guys want to see next, and don't forget to subscribe. Oh, finally got this video done. Click here to watch the insane writing behind Kendrick, here for Frank Ocean, and subscribe because I know you didn't the first time I asked.